Hey YouTube, this is Bill. Continuing my series of videos dealing with the Bose S1 Pro. The next step is to look at alternative companies out there. What's the competition like? So, a speaker that I own and I enjoy very much and I can give a great review is right here next to the S1 Pro, and it is called the QSC CP8. They both came out a couple of years ago, so they're both fairly new. So this is a Shootout. Everybody likes a good old Shootout, and everybody wants to know right away, so which one's better? Well, I'm not gonna tell you right away. There's a lot of factors involved. So the first thing I wanna mention is build quality. Both of them are excellent. They're both made of hard ABS plastic, very durable, hard to scratch. So I would say it's pretty much a tie. Both excellent build quality, nice, good steel speaker grills, both very good, well built. Next, form factor. So if you look on the left, the QSC is slightly bigger. That's not gonna make an issue in packing it in a car, but it is slightly larger. Could be a consideration for somebody out there. And much more important is weight. Bose is a champion right there of any speaker I could think of at the lightweight, featherweight, 15.5 pounds. And that is such a great feature of the S1 Pro. And I just love the fact that when I'm packing up my car and I have choices of what speakers to take, I'll say, gee, I really prefer to carry the 15.5 pound speaker than the 30-pound speaker I have. And of course, there's pluses and minuses, but at the end of the day, the light speaker is the one that I pack up often. It's just so convenient. Okay, the QSC is not that much heavier. It is 21 pounds, and so that's 6 pounds heavier, but I'm not going to say it's trivial. Again, when we pack up to go to a gig, we're not just taking a speaker. We're taking everything that goes with it. So, and sometimes, I know for myself, I try my best to do it in one trip. So when you got your speaker in one hand in a bag or a backpack, and you got your poles, and you got your mixer, and you got your cables, and it adds up. So every pound counts. So when you're looking at 15.5 pounds or 21 pounds, there is a difference. Not major. Both speakers are pretty much the lightest in the field. Another important difference is warranty. Bose is a great company. They stand by their products. QSC, same, great company, been around for a long time. But the Bose has more of a standard warranty, 1 year, maybe 2 years on parts. But the QSC is same, 1 year, but if you register your product, you get another 5 years right away. So that's 6-year warranty compared to possibly 2 on the Bose. Very big difference. So that's what the first thing I do whenever I get a QSC product. I always online registration and get that full warranty coverage. But both companies are known to back up their products. Both companies have very good product support. I've called QSC many times for tech support, and they're very willing to talk to people. Same for Bose, they also have good tech support. Even though I said they both came out relatively the same time, a couple of years ago, QSC and Bose take a different philosophy in their speaker line. QSC is pretty much strictly for pro line, live sound, where Bose is also live sound, but covering more bases. A lot of people who are just interested in a Bluetooth speaker will buy the S1 Pro. People are doing karaoke, small parties. One of my biggest surprises that I found the S1 Pro at Best Buy. Again, a company that usually carries monster beats and things like that, and all of a sudden here they're carrying this wonderful live sound speaker. But QSC takes a different philosophy. They're strictly for more of the pro consumer. So less bells and whistles. Maybe they want to keep it simpler. I don't know, but Bose has all the latest bells and whistles. So let's talk about that. They are very important. Number one, right off the bat, Bluetooth. Everybody likes Bluetooth. I know I do for backing tracks. And QSC does not have any type of Bluetooth. So if you want Bluetooth with the QSC CP8, you're going to have to buy a separate onboard module. And I do have one. I will show it to you. I've used it. It's just as good as something built in, but it's something, one more thing to carry, one more thing to plug in. You need AC power to plug in a Bluetooth module. And of course, one more thing to lose or misplace. So Bluetooth built in is wonderful, and hats off to Bose. Their Bluetooth is excellent. I've read a review of Bose compared to other Bluetooth speakers, and they have one of the best connectivity compared to others, and their range is excellent. Okay, so that's Bluetooth. The other thing that's very a big difference, huge difference, deal breaker for many. As soon as you hear this, you're going to know you're a winner. That is battery powered. Bose is built-in battery. The battery is exchangeable. You can swap it out. I do have an extra battery. For $100, you can carry an extra battery. QSC, no battery, zero. Again, most professional environments, they don't want to deal with battery power. The gig is too important to depend on battery, so they're using AC only. But I have a solution I could show you, and that is something called an external power pack. But once again, it's not built in. Another item you have to carry, another item that you have to purchase extra money. So two huge factors of differences right there. Bluetooth and battery power goes to Bose. And with the Bluetooth connectivity of Bose, you also get an app. And if you've seen my previous videos, you're able to Bluetooth connect two Bose S1 Pros left and right in stereo, which is wonderful. And again, wirelessly. Also with Bluetooth, you have firmware updates. That's very handy, where in the future, Bose will make the speaker even better through their new technology. They can push it out to the customers with firmware. QSC doesn't have anything like that. And of course, just basically, I would just say the Bose has all the newest bells and whistles that many people are looking for. With the QSC is just bare bones, down to business. Also, I need to mention on the app they call it the Bose Connect app, they also have a battery indicator, which gives you a percentage readout. So that's kind of nice. Okay, so the next step I want to talk about is usage, ease of use, and features. So let's take a look at the S1 Pro first. So here you have your basic 2-channel mixer. This is not done on an app though. Unfortunately, maybe in the future that's something Bose will add, but right now, as it stands, there is no bass and treble control from the app. You have to come to the speaker. So it's a 3-channel mixer. You have your combi jacks on A and B, and then you have your auxiliary jack where you can plug in a phone or a tablet, and then also on channel 3 you have your Bluetooth. Okay, I like it because it's your standard gain pots, where some are all digital. Companies are going to all digital. Some companies like JBL, if you've seen my previous video, their gain is kind of like a light. As you turn it up, the light gets brighter. I really don't like that. I like to be able to see right away, okay, my channel 1 is at 11 o'clock, channel 2 is at 9 o'clock. So it's just, to me, that's the repeatability of that, the gains is important for me. So both speakers have that. Here's the QSC, same idea. You have your old school dials, which I like. So here is line 1 at 11. Here's a big difference between the two. On the QSC, you have right here contours or EQs, and the Bose S1 Pro doesn't have anything like that. So you have different modes. You have default, you have default with exterior subwoofer, you have dance mode, which kicks it up a little, you have dance mode with exterior sub, you have floor monitor, and you have speech. So having that EQ for a subwoofer is a big plus for the QSC CP8. And what that means is when you turn it on to, for example, it says external sub with default setting. What that does, it has a high pass filter, so certain frequencies will only go to the top, and then the rest of the frequencies go to the sub. Usually it's 80 hertz and below go to the sub, and the rest goes to the top end. And that takes strain off your top end, makes it clearer, more clarity when you play, and the top can play louder. So that's a big plus for the QSC. Bose, if you want to get any kind of high pass filter, you'll have to do it through their sub 1 or sub 2, which has that feature. Okay, here's something that's lacking on the QSC, unfortunately, and that is something very important: reverb. It's only important for the mobile musicians, for the singer-songwriter. They like everything built in, where again, QSC is more for the live bands, where they're expected to be using a mixer. And mixers have more detailed reverb anyhow. But going over here to your S1 Pro, each channel 1 and 2, both have reverb control right here. It's a simple one type of reverb, so you don't get a lot of choices. It's not on an app. It also has something called tone match, which you can set it for guitar or microphone. And I can't give much information about that because I don't play guitar and I don't sing. But it is a great feature, again, for the singer-songwriter. Let's look at auxiliary. So right here you have channel 3 as auxiliary, 1/8 input for an iPad or an iPhone. Here's your Bluetooth control. But here's a plus for the Bose, and that is on channel 3 for your auxiliary, you have a gain control where you can control it independently. We're going back to the CP8. I'm looking at my auxiliary here. You have your same 1/8 input, but there's no volume control. And to tell you the truth, I do miss that. I like to be able to control my volume of my backing tracks from the speaker. Instead, they expect you to use your gain from your phone or tablet. For the people who are familiar with the QSC line, one of the great features that is missing on the CP8 is a locking power cord. I really like that feature in their next lineup, but it's lacking here because it's a less expensive line. Of course, Bose also has a power. You can use it powered from AC, but most people use it off battery power. Bose speakers definitely can benefit by the use of a subwoofer. Again, with the S1 Pro, I've done some recent videos, how much the great difference adding a sub makes it into a full range sounding system. But I did want to point out one difference. Here on the S1 Pro, the line out, you can connect to another S1 Pro using a 1/4 inch TRS cable, or you can use the app if you want to do it wirelessly, but here is 1/4 inch. And then if you go here to the CP8, it is XLR out to a sub or another speaker. So a lot of people prefer XLR. I know I do. It's a more secure connection. You can have longer cable length without any kind of distortion. And I just like it because it's a more secure connection. It won't come out as easily as a 1/4 inch cable. And the other reason that people might like the XLR is because XLR is so much more common. You have your XLR cables in your gig bag for microphones. So that's just one more feature to compare. Another win in the Bose column is your simple, common power light power indicator on the front. If you look closely right there, it's a blue light, and I just like that. I can tell at a glance I got power to my speaker. I'm ready to start. You go over here to the QSC CP8, they deleted the power indicator. So the only way to know if it's on, you have to go in back and see some nice green or red lights, whatever is showing power. I don't like that. I like, again, I kind of a little paranoid, but before I start my gig, I want to be able to just glance over and make sure it's on. I don't know what they saved in money by not having that on, but I missed that feature. So I mentioned the fact about the missing Bluetooth on the CP8, but that shouldn't be a major deal breaker. Of course, it's not built in, but it's very easily found, an external Bluetooth module. Here I've been using this one from Bose. I don't believe this is available anymore. I just like, it's very nice and handy. I put it right on top, but of course it needs to have AC power. The Bluetooth module that I'm using currently, I talked about it in previous videos, is by PreSonus MicroStation BT. A little larger, but it has more features. I'm not going to go into it now. I've talked at length about it in other videos. But again, it's extra expense to add Bluetooth to the CP8, and it's just one more thing you have to pack up, and hopefully you don't forget it if you need it. So I talked about the fact that the CP8 does not have battery power, but on the other hand, buying an external power source, the one I could recommend, I've been using for a number of years, is called the Buden's. It's 166 watts. It runs the CP8 with no problem. It's very light, 11 pounds, very portable. You throw it in a backpack. But once again, it's just something else to add to your carry list. But a portable power pack like this is just wonderful to have in the home anyhow, for emergency purposes and charging your cell phones and tablets all week long. So it's not that big of a deal, but it's just one more thing, another plus in the Bose column. Another plus for the Bose is, at an extra cost, there is a wonderful backpack available, and it really is unique. I haven't seen this at any other company. It has storage space for all your cables. It fits the S1 Pro perfectly, and again, not having to carry something in your right or left hand, because with your right or left hand, you're carrying your stand or your mixer and everything else. So to be able to put it on your back is really wonderful. Even though it's such a light speaker, just to get it off out of your hands is a great feature. It's pricey, it's over $100, but again, QSC has your great bags available, but they're your standard hand carry bags, not a backpack. So in any good shootout, you always have people keeping tally, or your accountants, or if we had a scoreboard, we could see the tally marks. So right now, it looks like Bose has a landslide, doesn't it? They have a lot of features the QSC are missing, some of them critical features. But if you're in tune, you're probably saying, hold on, the most important thing that we haven't discussed, and that is sound. Sound is number one. So at least in my book, I don't care all your features or even weight, but if one sounds much better than the other, that's the one I'm gonna spend my money on. One of the determining factors dealing with sound for live shows especially is something called dispersion. And dispersion is measured in degrees and how wide left to right the speaker will cover your audience. So let's take a look at it. So your QSC CP8 is more of a traditional type of speaker, point source speaker they call it, where the sound volume is shot pretty much straight ahead. But since it's only an 8-inch speaker on the CP8, which I didn't mention, sorry, the dispersion is fairly wide compared to other point source speakers. It is 90 degrees. So that's from left to right, it'll cover your audience 90 degrees. Going to your S1 Pro, it's built differently. It's built from some of their technology dealing with line array. They have a couple of small mid-high drivers in there, and it's in front of a 6-inch woofer. but those mid-high drivers give a larger dispersion than a traditional speaker, 120 degrees. So that is another big determining factor. 120 degrees for the Bose and 90 degrees for the QSC. Dispersion, also the fact that it's not shooting a beam at your listeners. The volume of the S1 Pro will be more spread out, so it won't be so loud to people who are not necessarily dancing on the dance floor, but they're close to the dance floor. They won't be complaining so much about the volume to be turned down with larger dispersion speaker like the S1 Pro. So for our number one determining factor in choosing a live sound speaker, and that is SQ, sound quality. This was a real shocker for me. I wasn't expecting this. It was just, I didn't know what to say. I still don't know what to say. So what I did is I put these two speakers together like they are now. I ran them both from a 1/8 inch hardwire. I used one on a tablet, one on a different tablet. I played the same track. I got out my dB meter and I set them both at a little less than 90 dB, about 88 dB. So everything was an even playing field. They were even at the same distance from the listening position. And the result was equal. I couldn't believe it. In my mind, the QSC, because I never actually listened to them side by side. And in my mind, the QSC has just been such a beautifully clean speaker. I just was expecting it to run all over the Bose S1 Pro. But I guess I just didn't realize how great the S1 Pro really is, especially after all this testing I've done. And I listened to that same track, and basically if I close my eyes and I A/B them from S1 Pro to CP8 and back and forth, they sounded exactly the same. You really could not tell which was on. So that was a complete shock to me. And to make it even more shocking, I got out my bass test track, and I said to myself, okay, now there's going to be a distinct difference because the CP8 has an 8-inch woofer. The S1 Pro has a 6.5-inch woofer. Obviously, the CP8 is going to run all over it. And the answer is no, equal. I'm laughing because it just happened yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I still don't understand that, the physics of it. You would think that the 6.5-inch woofer couldn't keep up with the larger woofer, but I don't know. It's the Bose magic. The speakers, sound quality wise, in my book, are basically equal. So a great shocker. Again, for the people keeping tally, you have all those plus in the Bose column, and now the number one signal quality sound, it's pretty much equal. Both speakers are known for very clean, high-end, top-end. They're very well regarded on the acoustic guitar forum, and those guitarists who also do vocals, they're looking for something very clean, very articulate, and both speakers are used for acoustic guitars and vocals. So again, equal. So I guess we're ready to crown a winner. Not actually though. If you're an astute listener of Shootouts, and you know we haven't mentioned some very important differences, and that is power. So maybe they're the same signal quality, same excellent sound at moderate volume, because that's all I tested it at, was at below 90 dBs. How do they sound when you're in a live situation? How do they sound as a monitor in a live band? Because both speakers, I didn't mention, both speakers are able to be used as a monitor, and both are used as monitors for live band situations. Okay, so let's go over some statistics before we talk about power. The S1 Pro is 80 watts. Again, some people are surprised how loud it is for the 80 watts. Again, many people don't even want to talk about watts. They just want to talk about SPL. We'll talk about that in a second. The QSC is rated at 1,000 watts. And many people say that's ridiculous. It's impossible. It's not 1,000 watts. I agree. So you got to cut that in half. Let's say 500 watts. So even when you're looking at 500 watts compared to 80, it's just a huge, huge difference. So that's where these two speakers diverge, the power. So if you look at the specs, and I'll show it to you in a minute, the top end of an S1 Pro is 109 dB. And if you've seen some of my videos, I have tested it and I have gotten to about 108, and it stays clean. It stays clean at that volume, but once it gets to its maximum, once it starts clipping red on the back, that's it. And my phone or tablet is at 100%. There's nowhere else to go. That's especially if you're playing outside. So it becomes frustrating, especially if you're playing in a live situation and you need a little more volume for whatever reason. It's windy out, or you have more people showing up, or you just have a loud drummer like myself playing in the background. You're trying to equal that. You can't do it with the S1 Pro. It has its limit. Where the CP8 has, in comparison to 109 dB, it goes up to 124 dB. So that is just a huge, huge difference. And anything over 10 dB, when you're doing sound, acoustic engineering, I don't know what you want to call it, and anything over 6 dB is considerable, very noticeable to the ear. But once it gets to over 10 dB, you are looking at a doubling of the power. So you got to look at this CP8 as more power than two S1 Pros. So there's a huge difference. And again, the S1 Pro, when it's reaching its limit, it starts getting a little brittle, a little harsh, where the CP8 just has all that headroom, keeps going on and on and on. So this is where the individual customer has to make the decision. If you're a live band player, of course the CP8 is your choice as a monitor, and you have that extra headroom. If you're more of an acoustic guitarist, singer-songwriter, karaoke, listening to backing tracks, the S1 Pro is all you'll ever need. They're both very hi-fi sounding. Both speakers are used in the home, especially the S1 Pro. People are using it in the home for a hi-fi system, and they both sound wonderful. So besides sound, we've covered weight, portability, size, features, apps, battery power, or lack of. We missed something very important. And again, this is a deal breaker for many people, and that is price. The S1 Pro is $600. And one thing you have to know about Bose, you're not going to get any deal from Bose. So your July 4th sale, your President's Day sale, nobody's giving you the 5%, the 10%, of course, the 15% coupon that I wait for. You're not getting that with Bose. They have a policy with the music stores, they cannot be discounted. Where a QSC isn't under those constraints, so you're able to get that speaker. If you're lucky, Guitar Center every once in a while gives out their 15% off holiday coupons. You might want to wait for those sales, so that's a factor. But the actual base price, like I said, S1 Pro, $600. Your CP8, it is, in my opinion, it is the deal of the century out there, of the live sound portable speakers. It is $400. So to me, that is just incredible for what you're getting, sound-wise, quality, warranty, power, for $400. Nothing can touch it. $250 less than the S1 Pro. There is the Yamaha DBR, I believe, 10 or 8. Again, it's similar price range, but I'm a QSC fan, but I know the Yamaha is also well regarded. So talking about price, I did mention for the CP8, if you want Bluetooth, you can get a module, you can get an external battery source, but again, all those things cost extra. So a Bluetooth module that I bought recently, the Personas, is $130. The Butins that I showed you is also $130 on Amazon. So again, when you do the math, it actually is, to go that route, if you needed Bluetooth, if you needed battery power to equal all the features at the S1 Pro, it's slightly more expensive. And then of course you need a couple of cables for the Bluetooth module. So it comes out to like $660 for the CP8, a little more money. Again, it depends on what you need. Okay, let's go through the specs. So here is your price for the S1 Pro, $599. Here is your frequency response of the S1 Pro, 62, goes down to 62 hertz to 17. And I was expecting that to be a factor since it only goes up to 17 hertz on the top end and the QSC does better. But again, from my listening test, I didn't see a difference. Here is your dispersion, 120 degrees. Again, that is better for audience coverage, a plus in the Bose column. And here is your wonderful weight, under 16 pounds for the S1 Pro. Pretty much the lightest quality live sound speaker you can get out there. Here's your CP8, 1000 watts, 8-inch speaker for $399.99. I think we can call it $400, right? Here's your specs. The frequency goes down to 56 to 20. There's your high-end figure, 20 hertz. But there's your most important difference between the speakers, 124 decibels, max SPL. You really want to look at that instead of watts. That's a huge difference from the 109 of the S1 Pro. Here's your weight, very manageable, 21 pounds. And again, 8-inch woofer, 1000 watts. And here is your dispersion right here. It says 90 degrees. And again, 124 dB SPL maximum rated. Here is the Buden's power supply I mentioned. I got mine at Amazon, $129, $130. Great unit. It can handle your largest live sound speakers, but it will handle this CP8 with no problem. Here is the Bluetooth module that I demonstrated in other videos, $129, $130. Again, very good quality. I can recommend it. And that's it. Okay, wrap up. Every shootout needs a winner. Everybody likes to know, which one should I buy? Well, unfortunately, in this case, I hate to disappoint people who watched this whole video. I cannot pick a winner. This is like the old story of the mechanic. He needs different tools, right? If you need a hammer, even though you have the best screwdriver, it's not going to help you, and either or. So if you need battery power, if you need maximum portability at less than 16 pounds, if you need Bluetooth built in, if you need that great sound quality, Bose S1 Pro is our clear winner. But if you need volume, if you need power, if you're in a live band situation where people playing next to you they're playing louder than you need to turn it up a little or else you'll be drowned out, then the more professional musician speaker is the QSC CP8. Of course, money. I mean, if you don't need the Bluetooth and you don't need an external power source, and you can save $250 for $400, the QSC is the winner. So I really can't pick a winner in this situation, sorry for that, but this is really gonna have to be individual determination, what you need. I was really expecting the CP8 to be the clear-cut winner because in my mind, it had such great sound besides the power, but I just had forgotten just how good the S1 Pro is. Okay, hope you've enjoyed. Keep on watching. I have a couple of more videos coming to compare with other speakers I own. That should be interesting. Of course, if you like the CP8, for $250 more, a couple of pounds more, I could show you a better speaker. But it's always the same story. It's always a little more money, a little more weight. So, but I do have a speaker that I want to show next. That's one of my favorites. Okay, later.